We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Coming up for the balance of the hour into the next hour, at the next segment, we're going to have the makers of Camp FEMA on and talk about a host of issues, get into the flu, get into big developments with the hardened Montana American police force situation. I haven't gotten to that yet, biggest developments yet in that case. But I wanted to hold Mike over to take some calls. Jasper in Mass, you're on the air. Go ahead. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex, you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Hey, listen, I think I've got breaking news that you'd be really interested in. We're looking on YouTube this morning, and we found these clips that talk about NASA sending a bomb to the moon. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, that's public. That's Reuters, AP.
Right.
Since the Indian probe a few months ago found water all over the entire contiguous surface, even above the surface, in the dust, below the surface in large amounts, NASA's quickest thing they can do is to slam, they're calling it a bomb in the headlines, slam a satellite into it to then have spectrometers from a distance scan the water content because they want to find out the concentrations below ground. And so, yes, it's very interesting. That's in my stack.
Could this be the false flag? Because remember, well, first of all, I wanted to point out that the date is essentially 199, which is pretty close to 911, and it's illegal to be doing any kind of weaponization stuff in space. I thought there was a ban on that, and then additionally, could this be the false flag event that they have always been talking about, that Von Braun was talking about, saying that the alien threat would come after the terrorist threat? And,
listen, I appreciate your call, sir. I don't get into speculation here. We know it's a live virus they pump into the nasal cavity with the new flu vaccine and that it can mutate and spread the disease. We're covering it. We know a convicted felon fraud moved in and tried to take over a detention facility where they were talking about keeping terror suspects. We know that $23.7 trillion has been stolen from the people of this country in the last year. We know all this is happening. It's the wrong show, and I don't bash people that get off into different things. I even knew about the water on the moon through Buzz Aldrin, through Charlie Sheen, before it was even in the news, and I didn't even mention that because it would just sound weird. Oh, Buzz Aldrin says they're going to announce the next month they found water on it. I told my wife about it, a few people around the office. I got some text messages from Charlie about it. But the point is that I just don't get off into all that. Mike Rivero.
Well, I mean, this is not weaponization. This is a repeat of what they did with the Comet Impactor mission, and it's becoming a standardized technique. You throw a large object into the celestial body you're investigating, and as you said correctly, you use a spectroscope on the debris to see what came out of the center. And this is a precursor to a possible permanent lunar base at the moon's south pole, where if there is a source of water there underneath the regolith, it's going to make the logistics of supporting such a base that much easier. It's not a false flag. It's not weaponization. It's just the next step in establishing a permanent lunar colony.
Absolutely. False flag. I mean, having a satellite, little satellite, not that big of a satellite, slam in as a meteor gun into the surface of the moon so they can register how much water vapor comes up. I mean, that's not a false flag. But I'm not trying to make enemies with listeners disagreeing with you. I just, I got so much stuff here I can prove that's off the charts insane, and nobody seems to care. The White House science czar has written more than 10 textbooks calling for the extermination of the majority of the public and forced drugging of the water supply to sterilize us. But I can get plenty of people to call in and tell me about reptoids, and I'm not bashing the people that think everybody's a reptoid. The point is just that isn't me. I'm not into that. I'm just into what I can prove. Let's go ahead and talk to Joe in Maryland. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Hey, I used to work for a wholesale store, and it's called Costco. Talking about the North American Union, and the meat boxes, on the meat labels and the meat wrapper labels, they said product of U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And sometimes they'll say Canada and Mexico, and then sometimes they'll say product of North America.
Well, I mean, I remember 2 years ago, I got the letter, because I have employees in Texas, from the Texas Workforce Commission, saying you will no longer report your employee data and workers' comp, all that kind of stuff, to the Bureau of National Statistics, to the Labor Department through us. You will report it to the North American Union. And it gave me my North American Union ID number. And then it's one of those things where it happened so close to home, I didn't even cover it for a few weeks. It was so weird. My wife just pointed it out. And then Jerome Corsi at Human Events and WorldNet Daily did report on it. Separately, people noticed. So Mike Rivero comments on that. I mean, that's all this is being conquered. You have private banks come in. They announce new government agencies. They rewrite the laws in a tyrannical way so they control everything, and that's it.
Yeah, basically that's it, and that's the reason the first two United States central banks were shut down by courageous presidents who had more gonadal tissue than our current administration. And every time there has been a central bank privately owned, it has brought hardship and impoverishment to the American people. When Ben Franklin was serving as ambassador to the Court of St. James for the colonies, and they said, "What do you do with all your poor and unemployed?" And he said, "We don't have poor and unemployed. There's enough money around for everybody to have jobs and be carrying on their commerce." And immediately the Bank of England went to King George III and lobbied him to pass a currency act saying that the colonies had to conform to the banking practices of the Bank of England. 2 years later, there was massive poverty, massive unemployment, and that was where the anger for the American Revolution really came from. Forget about the Stamp Act and the tea tax and all the rest of it. It was that deliberate impoverishment by a private bank that fueled the first American Revolution, and I think it might fuel the second.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mike Rivero. Let's go ahead and take another call. I guess Kenny in Texas is up next, or is it Matthew? Kenny, welcome.
How you doing? I'm a big fan, Alex. I just wanted to call because I kind of had an event the other day, and I just wanted to let you know about it. I stumbled into a volunteer firefighter, and he's FEMA certified through a bunch of different things. And he has been practicing with the Galveston County Office of Emergency Management. And he showed me one of these bracelets that y'all were talking about. These bracelets with this RFID.
Yeah, we weren't doing that. It was a medical person with the Army saying they're training with the CHIPs in California, the Highway Patrol, to do this. And then we confirmed in the UN documents they are preparing that. And they've since admitted they're preparing for mass quarantines and lockdowns. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. They're just preparing for it. I want to make that clear distinction there. But go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, whenever y'all were talking about bracelets, it was kind of, I didn't really believe it. Or not that I didn't believe it, but I just didn't know how it would work. And I went to the Galveston County Office of Emergency website, and they're showing little kids putting on these bracelets on the website.
Excuse me? Now I want to put you on hold. I want you to send this to an email address we're going to give you. What's the best one to give him off air? This is a direct line to us. John, give him Hartman's email. So this is the Galveston County Office of Emergency Management. It shows them getting the bracelets that they've had the shots.
No, not that they've had the shots, but that they're, I guess, and it's got the Boy Scouts Earned Emergency Merit Badge.
Okay, I'm not talking about merit badges. You said bracelets. What are they getting bracelets for?
Well, I think they're just doing some kind of drill, putting the bracelets on. They're not getting the shot. They're just maybe practicing for an awareness. I'm not really sure.
Well, what does it say? Okay. All right, so that's the Galveston Office of Emergency Management. What does the header on the article say?
New technology assists with evacuee tracking. That's what they're saying. They're using.
Oh, yeah, they did say in Texas when you're an evacuee, they want to make you take a bracelet. Yeah, no, I saw that with Rick Perry 6 months ago. Okay, so new technology helps with evacuee preparedness. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Thank you. We'll pull it up. Yes, I am aware of that. Well, that's just like they're announcing they want you to wear shock bracelets, everybody that gets on the airplane. And Homeland Security did consider that. or they're announcing that the city police everywhere want neighbors to spy on neighbors. And there's another article where they're admitting they want to put passive MRIs scanning us on the highways. Mike Rivero, closing comments on that.
Yeah, we're getting into this total scan surveillance now because of that botched assassination attempt in Saudi Arabia. They're talking about literally scanning the insides of our bodies before we're allowed on airplanes. We're getting into this
X-rays. X-raying the people. You get a chest X-ray. Here we go.
Yeah, and it's reached a ridiculous degree because, from bracelets, the next step will be the implantable chip, and the idea is to get us all tagged with a number so that we can be tracked and taxed, and there is no escape from the system. And that's really what it's all about, is making sure that nobody can decide to go off the grid and not be part of the farm animals.